Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Yeah, it's been a while. I don't really know how I'm going to do this, but I thought I'll do a vid on my EV, the Ford Explorer that I've had for about 4 months. Around 6,000 miles that I've covered in it. It's going back because, as some of you may remember, this was a hire car until my actual company car arrives, which is coming in a few days time. So I just thought I'll give you my actual thoughts, in-depth review on this car after about 6,000 miles and living with it daily for the last sort of 3-4 months that I've had it. And yeah, just tell you a little bit how I found my experience with EVs. The other car that I've actually ordered is also an EV as well. But yeah, I just thought I'll wrap it up with the Ford Explorer and give you my thoughts and impressions about this car over the time I've had it. So as you can see, this Ford Explorer, it's a 2025 model year car, and I've had it for, like I say, about 3-4 months now. It's finished off in this blue color. I can't remember the exact name of it. I think it's Arctic blue or something. There is a deeper blue which is called Blue My Mind, but this isn't that one. It's the Select model, which is what I figured because it doesn't have a pan roof. It's just got the standard roof on it. It does have these diamond cut 19-inch alloy wheels. I do think that it does look okay, to be honest. It does remind me of like a Range Rover from the front end, like this kind of bar. It just looks like the new Range Rover. And then you've got these kind of darkened mirror caps here which add to the contrast, which I think look quite good. We've had a bit of a dent there. Let's gloss over that bit. And then around the rear end as well, you've got that kind of a Range Rover-esque kind of look with that kind of black bar that runs across it that says Explorer. I do like the sloping roof line because I think it adds to the appeal of this car. And believe it or not, behind this kind of pattern you've actually got like a window. So from the inside, if I just show you, there you go, it's a window. And then on the outside you've got this kind of design feature which looks pretty cool. And while we were on the inside, actually, it's quite spacious in the back here. You've got like a flat floor as well, which is quite good, so quite a lot of practicality. And if we move into the front here, you have got a nice big infotainment screen here and a driver's display. Like I say, I've done almost 6,000 miles in the car and it's been pretty decent. Steering wheel is like a squared off steering wheel, which isn't too bad, adds to the driving appeal of it. The fit and finish in the car, all the touch points are pretty good. It is a VW underneath. Those of you know will know that. All the switch gear like this is all VW. The haptic feedback buttons, all kind of VW. That is a sync Ford system, which is a good thing. That is all kind of VW. The graphics are Ford. But overall, I am impressed with the actual quality in this car. This does have the Bang & Olufsen sound system as well, which is pretty good. This is the Select model, so therefore no kind of pan roof or anything. I wish it did have a pan roof, but it doesn't. But the Bang & Olufsen sound system makes up for that. Not keen on this kind of setup here because you've got rear electric windows and you've got to press that to then use these two buttons to drop the rear windows. But I think the accountants got involved and started to cut some costs. So that was a quick tour of the car. We'll take you out for that drive as well, and I'll talk to you about how this car is on the drive and how I've actually found it as well. The one thing that I will say is that the cost of running this car hasn't been that expensive. It's cost me around about £100 a month to charge it up, and that's not even from home, so it could cost me a lot less if I had a home charger. Home charger is also coming with the new car as well. So I've been charging this car up at work and I've been paying around 27 pence per kilowatt. If you're charging it up at forecourts, it's going to be in north of like 75 pence per kilowatt. So I haven't had the cheapest charging, but I've had it subsidized as well, which, you know, is decent enough, and it's been costing me about £100 to £120 a month over the time that I've had it. So let's assume it's cost me something in the region of about 7 or 8 pence per mile, which is pretty good. However, if I was to charge this car at home, that 7 or 8 pence a mile would probably drop to below 5. But if I was to charge it at like a forecourt, it'd probably be north of 12 pence a mile, which then it becomes quite expensive to charge. So I'm just going to go for a little drive in this car and just let you know how it feels. The thing with all electric cars is that they are really quick off the mark, and this is no exception. It's like prod of the throttle, and you know, you kind of get chucked back in your seat a little, and it does get down the road quite quick. If I compare this to the rest of my fleet that I've got, like my M340i, M4 and the M5, this by far gives me like the biggest push in my seat through acceleration, and that's because there's no turbochargers, there's no engine, there's no internal combustion, and it's just literally like 100% torque going straight to the rear wheels. This is a rear wheel drive car. It has around 280 odd horsepower on paper, which, you know, if I was to compare that to something, that's the same as what I had in my Audi A7 at one point, which was a 3-litre turbo diesel car. This definitely feels quicker than that. The 0 to 60 in this is about 6.7 seconds or something, and even that, you know, it feels quicker than those numbers suggest. That's just because the instant power of this car and the torque just kicks in as soon as you prod the throttle. Around town, this is amazing, like in terms of economy and all of that. You know, there's this kind of I wouldn't say MPG number, but like the equivalent is like a miles per kilowatt hour. Now if you're achieving something around 4.2, 4.3 and above, you're gonna get some real good mileage out of this thing. You know, probably in the region of about 300 miles on about, I don't know, 80% charge. So in terms of range, what do I actually get out of it? I mean, this is a company car. I use it for like work purposes mainly, and my other cars are for like domestic and pleasure use. This thing gives me roughly around about 250, 260 miles on like an 80% charge, and the only issue with that is locally not a problem. I can be, for work purposes, Liverpool one day and down south the next day, like let's say somewhere around Watford or something like that, and I can only do one full journey. So the way I try and plan it is, if I'm going up north, I'll get to work, I'll plug it in there, and then I'll come back to the Midlands where I live, and then the next day I've got enough charge to get another trip down to like down south, plug it in, and then come back home again. The plug-in life is something that you got to get used to, and in the corporate world, you know, there's not many chargers around, so you know, it comes on like a first come first served basis when you turn up to work. If there's a car already plugged in, then you got to wait, and then you are kind of forced to use one of the public chargers, which are quite expensive, and in terms of like say how much you can claim back, it's far less than what it's actually costing you. So but just bear that in mind. If I was to go and buy an electric car privately, I don't think it makes sense. I would go and buy a hybrid. The only reason I've actually got one of these cars right now is because it's a company car, and the benefit in kind tax is really low. I'll pay, let's say, 3% on this car at the moment in 25, 26. If this was like a internal combustion engine car, it'd be like 29%, and if it was a hybrid, it'd be like something like 20, 21% or something like that in tax. So it's like a tax haven essentially, like to drive one of these cars at the moment. No doubt that future governments are just going to ramp that up, and those company car drivers will be hammered again, as we were with diesel and all of that stuff. Right, so what is it like to drive? I'll be honest, like I've never put this into different driving modes. You've got like a sport mode and an eco mode. It just stays in comfort most of the time. There's a lot of like safety measures that go off, like steering intervention, lane departure and all that. You can turn all of that off, but as part of like say the theme of this car, just leave it all on anyway. But in terms of driving, like it's more than a crossover. It's like an SUV, although it's rear wheel drive. I don't find like traction ever an issue. You know, like people say, oh, rear wheel drive cars, you know, they'll break traction. This thing is like over 2 tons, so it's got a lot of weight all over the car, so it's well planted. I've not really been able to drift this, or maybe I just can't drift it. Make what you want of that. But no, overall it's a well planted car. It gets up to speed really well. It's fairly economical to a point, and it's really comfortable. So like right now, this seat is massaging me. I've got a massaging seat, and that's quite nice on a long journey. You know, you've got lumbar support and all of that as well. I've never kind of felt like coming out of the other side of the journey feeling tired, or you know, like kind of I wish I was in like one of my other cars. It's never been like that. I think Ford, the way they've made this car and kind of dressed it around, like say the driver, it's actually a job well done. There are some options that are missing on this car, and that's probably because it's the lower spec level. I know like with the premium you do get a head-up display, and you probably get ambient lighting and like the pan roof and bigger wheels, so there are some options that are missing, but I've not really been bothered about that, just because this has been a higher car for me until my actual car turns up. But if I was to order one of these, I would definitely go for the premium rather than the select. But then the price does bump up as well, so it all depends on where you really want to be. The odd thing is you can't just spec, let's say, this car with the slightly bigger wheels, or you can't spec this car with like a pan roof. The way manufacturers are doing it now, they're just offering packs, so you just add that pack on, and then you get a bit more for, you know, as part of the package. I know there's a lot of people that say that with electric cars, like the brake pedal feels like artificial. I'm a bit mixed on this one, especially on this car. Sometimes the brake pedal feels like you get a real good natural feeling, like when you sort of pressing the brake, like there. Other times it feels like really spongy, like you're pressing the brake and the car's not stopping. It's really bizarre. It's unpredictable how your brake pedal is gonna operate. And that's not a good thing, especially like when you're in traffic and you're thinking, right, okay, when they brake and you're pressing your brake pedal, nothing happens, and then all of a sudden it's like that. Literally, that's happened just then. Yeah, so it's quite odd on this. The acceleration, can't argue with that. That is quick. This will put quite a lot of sports cars to shame in the acceleration, like, you know, whether it's in gear shove or rolling or off the lights or something. This will put quite a lot of cars to shame. There's a 911 in front of me, and I know that this will pull away from that 911 to about 40 miles an hour quicker than that would. After that, it's a different ball game. The thing with an electric car is that when you're on the motorway and you're driving along at 70 miles an hour, let's say, the range is going to drop significantly. And if you're going north of that, which you shouldn't be because it's illegal, but if you are and you feel like breaking the law, which I don't impose that you do, then the range is going to drop massively. The other thing is when you are on the motorway and just cruising along, like in a normal car, you know, like your range will just extend. You know, you might get like, I don't know, another 100 miles out of range just because you are cruising along. Whereas with this, because the motors are constantly running, it really drops the range. You know, you are not gonna, let's say, get an extra 100 miles of range banked in that way. It's really odd. You will get probably 250 miles driving it locally, and you're probably gonna get 220 miles driving it on the motorway. It's just really weird. The other thing with the electric cars is because they have that instant power as soon as you prod the throttle like that, and they get up to speed really well, they become quite addictive, you know, to do a bit of that. But they carry a lot of mass. Like I said, like this car is the size of a Range Rover Evoque, let's say, but it weighs like 2.5 tons or something like that. So when you come up to, like, say, a bend in the road, and you are doing, let's say, the road speed, I'm doing 50 miles an hour on this road, and it's a 50 miles an hour road, and if I carry that 50 miles an hour through this bend here, it won't give me the same confidence as it would if this was like a normal SUV, internal combustion engine one, because that's a lot lighter than this. So it's like you've got to refigure the way this car will actually drive and how much it can actually take through the corners, which sometimes is quite scary, because you might just be going along and the car may just wash wide a little bit because of that weight. And that's not just with this, I believe that's with most electric cars, just because of the weight that they have and how much power that they actually put down as well. Here's an S-bend. You can see me moving around in my seat there, and that's because of the weight, the inertia of it moving around. and that wasn't me accelerating through that bend or anything. That's just me carrying that speed through. And I know if this was any other car doing the same speed, it would just literally hold it through there without any drama. So I'm gonna wrap up here now, guys. My thoughts on this car over 6,000 miles, 3.5 months or whatever it might be. I do like it. I think it's not a car that I kind of hate going up to and getting into or anything like that. I do like driving it. I do like making those long journeys for work in it. I don't get out the other side tired. It's got the right amount of power, and it's got the right amount of practicality with this car. The tech actually works. I'm glad that even though this has got VW's underpinnings, they've used their own like Ford Sync infotainment system, which is way better than any VW system at the moment. It's never crashed on me or anything. The haptic feedback stuff on this steering wheel does work better than the VW ones do. In terms of running costs and all of that, yeah, it's relatively cheap if you know where to charge. Home chargers make a huge amount of sense, but please don't be thinking that you're buying an electric car to save the planet. You're not. Okay, you'll have to do about 150-200,000 miles in this car to actually make any bit of difference to your own carbon footprint. I'm forced to take an electric car through work. If I wasn't, I wouldn't have one. Simple as that. But yeah, it's a company car for me, so that's my journey on there. But overall, I have been impressed with, you know, the EV life. Charging is a problem, but hopefully that'll get sorted when I get my home charger fitted, like in a few weeks time. So I won't really have that issue of like wasting time sitting somewhere for half an hour. You can follow me on my TikTok. I think it's the same as my channel here, and you can see my journey on charging and the shenanigans as such. But I think I've kind of rambled on a lot about this car in this vid right now. But hopefully, guys, I'll see you on the next one when I unveil my new electric car. See you then. Laters.